Vampires versus the Bronx just came out on Netflix yesterday, October 2nd. It is about a group of kids who find out that vampires are gentrifying their neighborhood, and what happens when they try to protect their neighborhood. I don't know if I'm still gonna do the star rating system. I think I'm just gonna go with, would I recommend this movie? Would I not recommend this movie? And I would definitely say for a Netflix movie, it's pretty good. It's funny, it's pretty lighthearted, it's a horror comedy. And for a Netflix level movie, I think if you're looking for something to watch, it's a good watch. As I was watching it, I actually kind of felt a little bit nostalgic because it reminded me a little bit of like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, nostalgic shows and episodes like that from when I was a kid. And I think that the kids, it centers around a group of kids, and I think that they did pretty well with acting. Just lots of humor sprinkled throughout, and like just a little bit of a feel-good movie. I know that sounds weird to say, like, but it's comedy horror, and which is really speaks to like who I am at my core. I mean, this would have definitely been something that I would have watched as a kid. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want to spoil it for yourself, pause it here, go watch the movie, come back, listen to my review, and then let me know what you thought of the movie. So, at the beginning of the movie, we see a familiar face. Zoe Saldana is playing a nail salon owner who is selling her business. And as she's signing the paperwork, the guy who's selling it, who's buying it from her, says, you know, he's like trying to figure out if she's alone. And she says she is, and then of course he's like, well, why am I gonna give her this money? She's alone, like I'll just kill her after she signs the paperwork and be done with it. So she goes missing, and that's kind of a theme, I guess, throughout the movie is this woman goes missing and nobody really questions it because they see the real estate signs on her shop and they're like, okay, well, the realtor's got another person, you know, and another person is gone. And so like throughout the movie, the vampires kept saying, that's the reason why we're coming to the Bronx, because nobody cares if you go missing, or nobody will know if you go missing. But you can see that this neighborhood is like any other. There's a lot of tight-knit people. It's, you know, really family-oriented, and obviously, you know, people would notice if they go missing. But for whatever reason, I mean, I'm not super familiar with the Bronx. I don't know what it's like in real life. But in the end, you see that obviously the vampires are wrong, and it's actually a really good, tight-knit community. Like any community, there are bad people, good people, you know, it's structured like any other place. So you see that there are missing person flyers everywhere. And it's kind of funny how they say like, oh, nobody cares, nobody will look for you, but there's missing person flyers. So obviously somebody's looking for them. And there's one scene where the friends all meet up on a basketball court, and one of the kids is reading Salem's Lot by Stephen King, which is pretty good. That's actually a movie I've never seen, surprisingly. I've seen a lot of Stephen King stuff, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just like it wasn't really on TV as much growing up, or at least I didn't see it. And that is definitely something, I feel like this Halloween I need to watch it and maybe do a review video on it. But I've been wanting to watch it for a while. It's just not really on anywhere. I haven't seen it on any of the streaming services. I don't know if that means that it's not as good as any of the other. I mean, I feel like it is. I mean, I feel like there have been other TV shows, movies that have been inspired by it. Anyways, I'm gonna check it out. But I really liked that reference. It's kind of an obvious reference, but I liked it anyway. And then Method Man rolls up as, I guess, a priest. And he's very, like, always suspicious of this group of boys, like, thinking that they're getting into trouble. So this group of boys is headed up by, I think his nickname is called Little Mayor. Mayor, M-A-Y-O-R. And they're circulating flyers to save their neighborhood bodega so that it doesn't get bought by the real estate people and can stay open, because it's a really important place for the boys. They go and do their homework there. They hang out with the owner. The owner's like a father figure to them. And I knew that bodega meant store, but I just looked it up, and they don't call stores bodegas here. But I looked it up. I just Googled it, and Google says bodega is a Spanish word for warehouse. When Spanish-speaking people began arriving in New York in large numbers during the first half of the 20th century, they brought this word with them to describe small stores selling a variety of items, including packaged food, beverages, cigarettes, newspapers, and candy. So that is what a bodega is. So they want to save the bodega. And that night, Little Mayor is riding his bicycle, and he's really freaked out, and he runs into one of the neighborhood bullies, and then he gives chase, but then loses Little Mayor and runs into this vampire, and the vampire gets into his head and kills him. But the boy, Little Mayor, sees the whole thing and is like, vampires, vampires, is telling everybody there's vampires, and nobody believes him at first. And it's funny because Little Mayor, I mean, I know I'm 34 years old and this is a child, but I think no matter what generation you grew up in, everybody knows about vampires, right? But like the kid in the movie, Little Mayor, he freaks out because he like needs to learn about these vampires so he can defeat him. And he's talking to his friends, and his friends are like giving him a crash course on vampires. They watched the movie Blade, which I've never seen before, but I know it's a vampire movie. Now I kind of feel like I need to watch it. But just telling him really, really basic stuff. Like, I guess he didn't even know that like a vampire has to be invited into your home. But this one kid is telling him this, like this is news, which I thought was kind of funny. So the kids go to the real estate office during the day thinking that they'll have the upper hand because vampires can't come out at night. But then when they get there, who they perceive to be the lead vampire guy just closes the blinds. And then they're like, shit. And takes them back to the office and is like questioning them and doesn't want them to leave. But then they get interrupted and find their exit. But they steal a bag, a little like zippered bag, and conveniently it contains a thumb drive showing blueprints of like all these vampire coffins, and then it has this old like ancient looking key that they don't know where it goes to. So they break back into the building and actually find some coffins and vampires in the coffins. And they take video of the vampires, and then one of their phones goes off and wakes up the vampires. They run out, and they're caught by the police. And they're like, look, we have proof of the vampires, and they show their video. But then when they're showing the coffin, instead of seeing a vampire, the coffin's empty, because like all the vampire lore says, you know, they don't have a reflection, they don't show up in mirrors, and I guess that also means that they don't show up on video. So at this point, so the person that they think is the lead vampire is actually what they called a familiar. I thought a familiar was like a cat, but he's a human who wants to be turned into a vampire. So he does their bidding, their daytime, their daylight hours bidding. So the guy who wants to be a vampire recruits the neighborhood bully, I don't know what else to call him, to, I guess basically people aren't selling fast enough. They're not selling their homes fast enough. So the wannabe vampire recruits the lead bully and is like, makes some noise and just get people to quicken their exits. So he agrees. And then you cut to the bodega, and they've started selling, like, I guess, like gentrified foods. You know, like, what did he have? It was like crap that I wouldn't want to eat. Just like health food type of things, you know, stereotypical health food like kale and the like, trying to, you know, stay afloat with all the new people coming in, you know, whatever their demands might be for food. So the bodega owner is there alone one night, and this woman that the kids keep running into walks in and is looking for little Mare, and she's talking to the bodega owner, and he's like, yeah, she like wants hummus. So he gives her hummus on the house because she's going to come to the block party that's supposed to help sell or help save the bodega. And so he's like, yeah, like, you know, bring the hummus to the block party. It's on the house. It's free. And he bends down to get her a bag. And there's a surveillance camera down there that catches his eye, and he sees that she's not on the camera. There's like hummus just floating there with no person. So then he realizes that the kids are telling the truth, and he's like, and he tries to play it off and says he doesn't have any bags. She seemingly leaves, and then he gets on the phone and leaves a voicemail for the kids and is like, I believe you now. But then all the lights go out. She comes back. You think he's safe for a second because when she grabs at him, she grabs his cross and it burns her, but she does wind up biting him. And it's sad because I really liked his character. So then the boys go to church, and they decide that they're going to raid the church office for supplies against these vampires. They get holy water. They get the little biscuit things that you get. I guess this is a Catholic church. I don't know, like the little biscuits, the crisps, the wafers that they give you. And they get back to the bodega, and they find that it's a mess. Well, before that, they run into one of the girls, the neighborhood girls that they have a crush on, or that little Mare has a crush on, and she's like, she was there when they tried to show the police the video where the coffins were empty. But with her family history, they believe in stuff like that. So she's like, I believe you. I want to help you. So they all band together, and they go to the bodega and see signs, like the real estate signs. And they're like, oh my gosh, like what happened to our friend? And they get inside, and there's obviously been a struggle. They see things on the floor, and they find their friend's cross, and they know that he's been killed. And so while they're there, though, the neighborhood bully shows up and goes after them. And then the kids lose them, and then the bullies run into the vampires. And it's really weird because seemingly they work for the same people. But I don't know if, like, these particular vampires got the memo because, like, the gang, like, the neighborhood bullies don't know. I don't know. Like, I guess they don't. I don't know if they know that they're vampires or that they're working for the same guy, and then if the vampires know that these bullies are helping, they have like a common cause or a common goal, but the vampires get rid of the bullies. So that was kind of confusing. I didn't really understand. If you're working for the same people, why are you killing each other? So they run into the new woman, the new neighbor, and she walks them home. She knows that they have something. So she walks them home, and she's like noticeably standing outside the door waiting for an invitation. So the boys kind of like perk up and they're like watching her, that she never goes into the doorway. She's just right on the edge as if she can't come in. So then the holy water that they have starts boiling. It acts as like an early warning system. And they realize that she's a vampire. So just before Lil Mayor's mom invites her in, they're like, no, don't let her in because she's a vampire. And then she becomes impatient because the key is actually hers that Little Mayor has, and she reveals herself to be the lead vampire. I have noted here that her name is Vivian, and I love that because my daughter's name is Vivian. So then we find out that the vampire company has actually bought the building, the apartment building that Lil Mayor lives in with his mom, and so that they actually don't need an invitation to get in any longer. So the boys decide after that night that they're going to storm the nest, and when they finally find the vampires, rather than being in coffins to where they're kind of at a disadvantage if somebody were to come in on them when they're sleeping during the day, they were sleeping upside down on the ceiling. And so this scene was very, very reminiscent of Lost Boys when they go into the cave and they stake one of the vampires as he's sleeping upside down and wakes up the rest. I don't know if they meant for that to be like a little homage, but it was, and I loved it. So Lil Mayor happens to have the key on him in his backpack, and Vivian gets it from him, and she uses it to open up this box that has ashes, and she says it's from the first vampire, and it is used to make more vampires. Basically, she just blows in the person's face and then bites them and they become a vampire. So that's a new way for someone to become a vampire. I've never heard of that before. So the boys are able to escape that situation, and then the familiar catches them just outside the building at gunpoint, and one of the boys kind of appeals to his insecurity and says, look, let us go. You know that they're not gonna make you a vampire, or if they do, you're just gonna be like their annoying little brother, and you're never gonna be one of them. You're never gonna be accepted. So he lets them go, and then Vivian sees this and kills him. So the vampires catch up with the boys, and they start kind of battling with the vampires and getting the upper hand. Their friend, their new girlfriend that they've made, has gone to tell the neighborhood, and the neighborhood shows up to take on these vampires, and it's really just cute, funny little scene. There's little interactions between each of the neighborhood people try and take on Vivian until the end, when she is staked with a very sharp bat by Little Mayor. And the movie ends with the block party. They're finally having the block party, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, I think that it's just like a really cute, simple, quick, lighthearted movie, Netflix movie. It wasn't bad by any means. It wasn't the best movie I ever saw. Like, I don't know that I would watch it again. Maybe I would, if Vivi was older. I think that would be a cute movie for her. Like I said, I could definitely see myself watching this as a kid. Something about it is definitely very nostalgic. So, and it's October, it's Halloween. Like, give it a watch. It's fun. It's new. It's something different. So, that is it for this video. If you liked it, leave a like. Comment, let me know if you've seen this movie and what your thoughts are. What's your favorite vampire movie? Tell me that. Tell me what's your favorite vampire movie. I guess my favorite vampire movie would be The Lost Boys. And then my favorite show, actually, my favorite show of all time is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I even loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, which is a very unpopular opinion. Joss Whedon himself hated the movie. So, yes, like, comment, and subscribe. Please stick around. I would like to see you in my next videos. And I'm sure I'll be doing more movies, reviews, videos this month. But in case I don't, happy Halloween.